everyone is being born and everyone is dying. So Krishna told Arjuna that actually you should not lament for this inevitable passing from one body to another. If you have attachment to life, then the other half of that is death. Just as there is light and there is shadow, there's light and darkness, there's life and there's death. So we cannot avoid that fact in this samsara. At the same time, the soul is consciousness, that is pure consciousness, and it cannot perish. Even the scientists state that the material body, or matter in general, it's one of the laws of Newton's laws, that matter is imperishable in the sense that it's always, when you boil water, it turns into steam, it evaporates, but the energy or the matter itself is not suddenly hasn't just disappeared. So even when you are dying, the elements of the body will mix back into the other elements. If you are cremated or if you are buried, ultimately the elements of the body will mix back into the original sources. And what will happen with the soul? We hear many examples in the Vedic histories about how the soul passes from one body to another. And according to our activities in this life, we may reach a higher destination if we are engaged in auspicious activities, or we may go to a lower destination if we are engaged in sinful activities. This is all dependent upon our karma in this life. But when we heard this verse in the beginning, Kamala dhala jala jivana talamala, bhajahu haripada nitire, an intelligent person will perform those activities that give him the greatest auspiciousness, supreme auspiciousness, or worshipping Sri Hari through bhakti, and then you can achieve transcendental life. You can achieve your true spiritual destiny, because as a spiritual part of that supreme absolute whole, your destiny is not to be bound in this cycle of birth and death in samsara. You should transcend that and go to the higher realm, the higher spiritual dimension, where you will not have to suffer these fluctuations of matter. So there's a few other things I thought would be interesting to mention. One thing is that there's a history in Mahabharata where Yudhisthira, the eldest of the Pandavas, he is asked questions by his father, who is actually Dharmaraj, the god of death, or Yamaraj, who appeared in a spirit hidden form. And he asked him, what is the most amazing thing? And Yudhisthira replied that everyone is entering into the jaws of death, and yet they think, I will not die. So in this world, everyone has to die. We know that, and yet we still act as if it's not true, because real knowledge means application. It's not just theoretical, it's practical. That's called Vigyan. Gyan is just knowledge, theoretical knowledge, but Vigyan means realized knowledge that you are practicing. So if we really believe this and understand that, no, I must perish, I must die, therefore what should I do with my life? I should prepare, understand the real goal of life, and strive to achieve that goal. Then I am able, or I will be able to achieve that supreme goal of life. Now, some people thinking that, I will die, everyone will die, everyone's going to have to die. So one way that you can go is the idea that you only live once, Yolo, the Yolo philosophy. Enjoy as much as you can. Like John Lennon saying, imagine there's no heaven, no hell, no right, no wrong. Ultimately, it just turns into, it's actually if you follow that path, and it leads to a hedonistic lifestyle, and it's not going to lead you to fulfillment, meaning, and finding happiness in your life, because it's alien to the soul, the true self. If you're neglecting the inner self and you're only engaged in external pursuits, it's not going to lead to happiness and fulfillment. For some time, you may experience some temporary pleasures, but even that pleasure, if it's in the mode of ignorance or even passion, it gives rise to pain and suffering. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says there's 3 gunas, material modes of nature: sattva, goodness; raja, passion; and tama, ignorance. Actions done in the mode of tama, ignorance, lead to death, meaning everything that is dark. And things in the mode of passion leads to suffering. Too much indulgence in sex life or eating things which are very unhealthy and always engaged in intoxications and things like that. They're full of the mode of ignorance and passion, and those who have this generally this YOLO mentality tend to like these kinds of activities that are in passion and ignorance. Some also may be attached to things in the mode of goodness, giving philanthropy, engaging in meditation, things like that. But unless we understand the true spirit self and our true spiritual nature, then we're not going to be able to act in such a way to give ourselves ultimate benefit, because the base assumption is false. Therefore, anything we build on top of that foundation will also be very weak, and in times of difficulty and danger, it will collapse. So our gurus teach us that we should be very careful to use our life in a very positive way. Now, our gurus, they don't tell us that we should deny life just because we know that we're going to die. Again, going back to the YOLO point, that even if we try to enjoy as much as we can in this life, thinking it's our only life, if we believe that philosophy in truth, when we die, it's all gone, it's all forgotten. What was the purpose of it all? Even if we're enjoying in this moment, it's like when you die, you're not going to remember any of it. It was just a momentary. When you die, that death is going to be, in theory, infinite. If you believe that, Krishna talks about this in the Gita also in the 2nd chapter. Even if you believe that this is your only life, then what is the point of it anyway? You might as well follow your dharma. And if you are just trying to enjoy as much as possible, that span of your life in the scale of infinite time is like not even the blink of an eye. Therefore, you're not going to find happiness and fulfillment just trying to enjoy as much as possible. Instead, you should realize your true dharma, your true duty in life. This is called Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means that which is eternal. So by following that dharma, then you can transcend the mortal coil and be present in eternal life. At the same time, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said we should not simply strive for moksha, liberation. That's for those who are, because you find that there's so much suffering in this world, you want freedom from that suffering. But there's no positive conception in that. Just like the example is given of a prisoner who wants to get out of jail so bad but has no idea of what he's going to do once he gets out. A lot of times these prisoners end up just back in jail. So these people who are always striving for salvation, liberation, moksha, without some idea of the positive engagement of the self beyond that state of moksha, then they end up falling back into samsara. Unless there's some idea of a spiritual interplay of exchange of pastimes or lila between self and other beings or God, then you're going to seek, because of the nature of the soul is to seek ananda, blissful exchange. And without, there's a saying that happiness is that which is shared. If you cannot share it with someone, then you're not going to be happy. So people will be bound to fall back into matter. So actually, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the highest pursuit is you should not be concerned about actually even that when you're going to die or thinking just about liberation. Instead, he says, Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam ba jagdisha kama yama majadmani janmanishvara bhavatad bhaktim ahaitu kitvai. Just give me bhakti. Causeless devotion. There should be no clause in our devotion that, oh, give me this and then I will worship you. Then this just becomes mercantile business. That we are doing some deal with Krishna. Oh, I will do your bhakti if you will give me these different rewards. That's not bhakti. So Mahaprabhu says, ahaitu kitvai. Give me causeless devotion and let me, birth after birth, be engaged in your loving relationship and be in the association of your loving associates, your devotees. Without that, everything else is void. He says, I would rather be kita janma ho jatatu adas bahirmukha brahma janma nahi as. I would rather be a worm in stool than be the creator Brahma, devoid of devotion for you. So our understanding in bhakti is that the greatest fulfillment is when we are in connection with that supreme absolute truth, the supreme whole. Being part and parcel of that, now we are feeling incomplete and suffering because we are not in connection with that supreme. And when we align ourselves with that supreme through bhakti, yoga means union or connection, yukta. And when you do that through bhakti, then that gives complete sweetness and fulfillment. more than we can even imagine, because that Sri Krishna, he is the abode of all beauty, sweetness, attraction. And when we are in connection with him, we also realize our full spiritual potential, and we also experience that transcendental bliss. So that person who is known as Kobe is no longer present, nor are those other people who were there in the helicopter. That was a accumulation of material parts: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. And it was aggregated into these corporeal forms we saw. But once it's gone, it will never come back. And that which people lament for is the self, but it's not the external form. There's a story of Hiranyakashipu after his brother Hiranyaksha was killed. And he told his family, "Why are you lamenting?" He told a story of Yamaraj, the god of death, who appeared in the form of a small boy when one king had been slain on battlefield, and his family was all around him mourning. His wives and queens were all mourning. And he said to the family members, "For whom are you mourning? Where is he gone? If you are mourning for this body, it's still there. And if you are mourning for the spirit within the body, do you have any relation with that? Do you know the nature of that spirit? What was its height? What was its age? What was its name? What was its color? What was its personality?" So that spirit that was present within Kobe has passed on, as well as the spirit within his daughter and other passengers, the pilot. It's gone into another state now. And that idea of Kobe now, it's going to pass into the annals of history. And we think that that is semi-permanent now. Oh, maybe for thousands of years, it will be in history that there was a person that was named Kobe Bryant. And yet, how long will that last even? Time is described to be like many universes are, appearing and disappearing in the span of one breath of the causal Lord Vishnu. In one exhalation, one inhalation, millions and millions of universes are appearing, again withdrawing within his transcendental form, and all the living entities within those universes are again and again being born and again dying. We can imagine, in one breath of the cosmic Lord, millions of universes appear, and each of those universes last for trillions of years, and in each of those universes, the living entities there take birth and die millions of times, millions and millions of times. So where is Kobe? Therefore, we should try to realize the true self and be present and established in that true self, knowing that everything else is just a dream that is temporary. That is called Maya. To think that I am this body, that is Maya. Agyan tamira naam kahiya kaitava dharma artha kama matvangsha adisab. Attachment to this body and this sense of self is the greatest darkness of ignorance. And it appears in this world as mundane religiosity, economic development. We work so hard for these different things, sense gratification. Ultimately, it is just ignorance, Maya. Therefore, if we want to escape this Maya, darkness of ignorance, we must let events like these be a reminder for us that nothing is permanent in this world of impermanence. Therefore, we should follow this path of bhakti and transcend our material bondage. Thank you for watching. Hare Krishna.